A Forced Smile, Chapter 17. A month later. Yeah, a bit time skip, okay? Today was my birthday, and I was finally 17, so no more homeschool. I sat in my room and thought for a while. Should I accept his offer? Flashback. Me and Jeff were sitting in a tree, so I was wondering if you, wanted to move in with me and my family. Jeff asked. Oh, Jeff, I would, but my real family, they'd notice, and your family wouldn't accept me. I said, they will. Trust me. Jeff said. I smiled and nodded. End of flashback. I looked over at the small backpack I had packed with a few sets of clothes, my phone, and my camera. It was 6 p.m. on Monday night. I stood up and walked around my room. They still hadn't caught who killed Richard. I was looking in the mirror until I heard a girl scream. Loki. I ran out of my room and down the hall to her bedroom. She was laying on her bed with a knife in the place where her heart was. Loki! I screamed, running over to her. Scarlet. And... Those were the last things I heard from her. Tears streamed down my face. Oh my gosh! Joseph screamed, standing in the doorway. Joseph, I whispered. He ran over to me and hugged me. Loki! Vanessa screamed, running over and pulling Loki into her arms. My mom stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Did she say anything? Vanessa asked me. I nodded. She said my name, and then the start of the word, and then I faded away. Vanessa nodded and looked at her dead daughter. I need an ambulance, Joseph stuttered down the phone, telling the police our address. I sniffed and ran to the bathroom, throwing up. I brushed my teeth and looked in the mirror, seeing Jeff standing behind me. Jeff, I cried, hugging him. He held me. Shh, it's okay, he soothed. I felt a stinging pain in my heart, and I started to cry again. All of a sudden, I heard a gunshot and then 2 screams. I ran back to Loki's room and saw Vanessa holding a gun. Her dead body sprawled out on the floor, holding Loki. Did she? I whispered. My mom was hugging Joseph. Then I noticed something. Where is Andrew? I asked. Mom shook her head. I ran to his room and he was lying on his bed, blasting music through his headphones. Andrew! I screamed, pulling his headphones out of his ear. Hey, what's up? Andrew smirked. What's up? Your mom and sister are dead. That's what's up, I screamed. Andrew looked at me and grinned. I know. That's because I killed her. My poor little sister, always the favorite of my family. All the attention went to her and Joseph, never me. Do you know how long I waited for today? I'm so happy they're both dead. Ugh, my stupid mom, always telling me what to do. I'd get found out sooner or later. But who gives a crap? Andrew laughed. You are sick. Just so freaking sick, I screamed. Andrew laughed. Say, the one who's in love with a burned-up freak. He chuckled. What are you talking about? I asked. Oh, don't pretend you don't know. That Jeff. I've been watching you. Everything you do. Andrew grinned. I stared at him. I hate you, I said. He laughed and pinned me against the wall. I struggled until blade was drawn across Andrew's neck, and he fell to the floor. I looked at Jeff and hugged him. Oh my gosh, I whispered. Go get your stuff. We are leaving, Jeff said. I nodded and ran to my room, putting on a backpack and holding Jeff's hand. I ran to Loki's room and heard ambulances outside. I love you, I said to Mom and Joseph. Scarlet. I jumped out of the window before my mom could finish her sentence. Jeff followed. Come on, let's go. After hours of running, we finally came to a house. It looks like the Weasley's house from Harry Potter, only in the middle of the forest and black. Are you sure about this? I asked. Apart from Slendy living here, yes, Jeff replied. What? I shouted. Shh, Jeff hissed. He took my hand and opened the door to the house. I'm home, Jeff shouted. A little girl ran over to Jeff and tugged at his hoodie. A forced smile. Still Chapter 17, Part 2. Jeff, will you play with me? She asked. Maybe later, Sally, Jess said. She nodded and glared at me. Jeff? Who's the chick? Said a guy wearing a mask and a yellow-brown jacket. This is Scarlet, Jeff said. I smiled and the guy nodded. I'm Masky, he said. I nodded. Go sit on the couch next to Ben and I'll get everyone down here, Jess said. I nodded and walked over to the black couch and sat next to the boy who looked like Link from Zelda. Hi? I smiled. You don't have to. You shouldn't have to. He was cut off by a guy in a blue hoodie. Ben, that's Jeff's girlfriend, he said. I'm not his girlfriend, I corrected him. He laughed and nodded. I'm Jack, he said. I'm Scarlet, I smiled. I know, he said and walked away. A few more people crowded into the room. I spotted Slendy in the corner. I soon knew everyone's name. Jack, Masky, Hoodie, Sally, and Ben. I smiled as I saw a smile laying in the corner. Jeff led me to the spare room. There was a double bed, a desk, a dresser, and a chair, and a huge window. Thanks, I said to Jeff. He nodded and walked out. I thought you were dead, said a voice behind me. I turned around and saw Slendy. Well, I'm not, I said. He laughed and ran his long fingers through my hair. I can see that, he whispered. I glared at him. See you later, he laughed, walking out of the room. Little did I know later would come sooner than I expected. I'm sorry about the pause. This was being slow. A Forced Smile, Chapter 18. I changed into some clothes I packed. A low green cut vest top, which showed a lot of my chest, and some gray tracksuit bottoms. Then I sat on my bed. I nibbled my fingers, wondering what slender meant when my door opened and a cat jumped onto my bed. It purred and wagged its tail, slowly walking towards me. It had red eyes and some fur had fallen out of its skin. Oh my gosh, you're so cute, I laughed, stroking its soft fur. I believe the word you were looking for is hot. The cat purred in a French accent. You can talk? I asked. Yes, I can. So can that pathetic excuse of a dog, he said, climbing into my lap and nuzzling against me. So, what's your name? I asked, thinking about what he said about Smile. I am Lee Gray, he purred, licking my hand. I giggled. I've never seen you before, I said. I come and go, he chuckled. I yawned and lay down. So, why do you not like Smile? I asked. He's pathetic, Grinny purred. I sighed and got up. Where are you going? Grinny asked, jumping off my bed. Downstairs, I said. He smiled and followed me. I saw Jack sitting on the couch playing The Walking Dead on Xbox. I walked over and sat next to him, and Grinny sat on my lap. Hey, Jack, I said. Hey, he said, concentrating on his game. I watched him play. This game has a very interesting storyline, I said, remembering I'd played it before. Yeah, it does, Jack said. I stood up and walked to the kitchen, seeing Masky and Hoodie sat in their seats next to each other at the kitchen table. I sat opposite of them. Hey, guys, I smiled. Hey, Masky said. Hoodie nudged him. Hey, Scarlet, Masky said. I laughed. Have you seen Jeff? I asked. Hoodie pointed to the stairs. Thanks, I smiled, standing up and walking to the stairs. I heard faint voices in Jeff's room. I knocked on the door and spotted Grinny next to me, curling his tail around my leg. The door opened and Jeff stared at me. Yes, he said, sounding annoyed. What the heck? What's up with you? I said. Jeff growled. A lot of stuff, so just go away, he said, then closed the door. Don't worry, sweetie. He'll come around, Grinny said. I looked down at him. For one, don't call me sweetie. And two, he's the one being mean, I said, walking back downstairs. Grinny followed me. 3 hours later. It was now 5:39 in the afternoon. Me, Grinny, and Jeff were the only ones in the house. I passed Jeff's door. I was dragged in. Jeff, what the heck? I asked, pulling away from him. Sorry about before, he said. I smiled and nodded. It's okay, I said. Jeff kissed my cheek, and I walked out of his room, seeing Grinny standing before me. Are you gonna follow me all day? I groaned, walking to my room. Yes, he purred. I sighed and closed the door and sat on my bed. Grinny laid on the end of my bed and fell asleep. I smiled and stroked his fur. Maybe it wasn't that bad after all.